Shelley, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you coordinate programs for sustainable coastlines. Yes. So tell me what you're working on.
Predominantly we're doing events and education around New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we've just started a litter intelligence program, which it's a database for the litter that we find on the beaches in New Zealand.
Okay, so you're logging what it is and how much and where?
We're working with citizen science groups or just community groups and schools around the country, and together we're able to just log all of the things that we find, categorise it all and put it onto the database so that anyone can take a look at it.
Yeah. So I love that phrase, litter intelligence. So what's your mission?
For us to understand the problem, and then without the understanding we can't really action things. So that's, we want to be able to follow through with actions and teaching people about solutions for the problem that we're finding on the beaches.
Is litter getting worse?
It is. I think the perception and the social awareness is getting a lot better. So in that sense, it's improving. Yeah. But we are still finding a lot of stuff on the beach. Yeah. So it's just about creating that awareness and creating the empowerment that people can change it themselves.
Yeah. So is the litter on the beach, is it stuff that's washed up? Is it stuff that is it going down the drains? Where does it come from?
It's predominantly marine litter that we find. It depends on where you go. Every beach has its own story. Yeah. So for example, maybe Takapuna Beach will have a lot of stuff that's windswept from the town itself onto the beach, or people leaving things by park benches and stuff. But then the West Coast, the wave action, everything, and we find really small pieces of hard plastic fragments. So that's definitely marine litter that's what ended up washing up on the beach.
What's the impact of the litter?
There's so many impacts in terms of human health, but also the health of our marine mammals and our fish. So we're finding a lot of now fish are ingesting a lot of plastics, and that ends up getting into their bloodstream and into the flesh of the kaimoana that we eat.
And you've just come back from Hawaii, I understand.
I did. So as part of just a holiday, I heard that our sister organisation, Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, was having a big cleanup. So it's everything up my alley: camping, being on the beach, but actually being active in helping to clean up. So it was an honour to be part of that cleanup, and it really opened my eyes to, I've seen the problems that we have in New Zealand, but just they're right in the North Pacific garbage patch, in the North Pacific Gyre, so there's a lot of brunt of the problem.
Wow.
There.
It's actually got a name, it's so big it's got a name, the North Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yes. So it's a litter soup, really, of lots of tiny microplastics, and the bigger stuff that they're finding with commercial fishing and things like that.
Is there anything that we can learn from Hawaii and their experience?
Just their location in the world. They have contributed very little to the rubbish they're finding on the beach. They're owning it, even though they're not part of the problem. They're owning the solution to it. So I think we can do the same. Yeah. A lot of our rubbish is actually created by us and the local industries. So it's about taking ownership of it, and together we can make, find the solutions and create solutions.
Yeah. And how does New Zealand compare with other countries around the world? So you've said a bit about America. How do we compare in the problem and the solution?
I think we're actually on par with a lot of countries. We do have that image of clean, green New Zealand. We have the benefits of being quite a small country, so the amount of waste we produce is relatively less, but in terms of per capita, we're actually the 10th biggest producer of waste. Yeah. So in terms of that, we're not looking good. Yeah. So just that consciousness and that thinking about our consumption, really.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get into this?
So I walked Te Araroa, and it's a walk from the top of the North Island and starting off in Cape Reinga down to Bluff. So I walked a lot of the beaches and just walking through the very uninhabited beaches and seeing that marine plastic, the rope and the big containers and all of the microplastics that have washed up, and knowing that I had to do something about it. helped me lead me towards Sustainable Coastlines.
Yeah.
They do great work, and I volunteered with them for about a year and a half before this job came up, and I got the job.
Cool. And so what can people do if they want to get involved?
There's loads of things. We all of our events are on our website, and they can also, if they think that they have a community group that would be interested in taking part in our litter survey, all they have to do is just log on to litterintelligence.org. They'll see what we've got so far. We've got about 80 groups now, 80 sites that are being managed by citizen science groups. So they need to know nothing, they just have to have a passion for their beach, and a willingness to want to sort of be kaitiaki for that beach. And then we'll give them the training that they need, we'll give them the equipment that they need. It's a lot of fun.
So what practical tips can you give a householder for reducing their litter?
Huge one would be composting, if that is an option.
I do that.
If that is an option for you. I mean, I know different people, and we don't expect everyone to be perfect at zero waste. If people are at least conscious of it, we'd rather have millions of people imperfect about it. Yeah. So that's our sort of message. Do what you can, see what works for you, and in that way we can work together on it.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.